Hello and welcome to Streets to Summits, episode 9. I am nearing a tiny bit of a very small, but some sort of an achievement. Nearing the 10th episode. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing anything for it, but I'm 9 episodes in basically. So yeah, nothing big happened the past week. The only thing that was actually kind of cool, and well, not kind of cool, it was actually cool, is that I went to Kuldiga in Latvia. I wanted to go there for a while now, and honestly, it was like kind of spontaneous. Basically, I was considering should I go or shouldn't, shouldn't, and you know, I just had a day off and I decided, fuel prices are expensive right now, and I didn't really want to, spend that money on fuel. But then I was thinking, like, I'm not going to be doing anything better, at home. So might as well, go to a city that I've never been to and just go exploring a bit. And it was actually a great idea. So I've never been in Latvia, and I never drove, cross country, which was, kind of cool. So yeah, jumped in my car, drove to Latvia, drove to Kuldiga, and it is a very beautiful old town. Honestly, walking there feels like I went 100 years back. It was actually really really cool. I've been I didn't spend a lot of time there, but like looking around was great. Everything's like this. Like I was actually doing some research, and that this town, it survived World War II pretty unscathed. So everything is like built before or way before World War II, and it hasn't changed really since. Like even there's like a stone bridge that it has not been changed at all. It has been like when I was there, I've seen like it getting fixed a bit, but they were still like putting in new rocks, just keeping it original basically. So I don't know, the vibe that town has was really really cool. I would love to see it, how it looks during winter, because I imagine during winter it should look like, like something like from Narnia, like a magical town, magical city. So that would be great. And it was weird to see, but it is the home for the widest waterfall in Europe. Now I don't remember how wide it is. I think it's like, I really don't want to butcher this. I think it's like 116 to like 127 meters. I think depending on the level of water, but it's only 2 meters tall. It's honestly, at places, its height is lower than me just standing with my hand raised in the air. I didn't walk near it, but there were just people, walking in the waterfall. So I don't know, seeing the widest waterfall in Europe, that's kind of cool. Other than that, nothing really special happened. Just went there, looked around, walked around, enjoyed my time there. Went back. It was my very first time when I got stopped by border check, because I've never have really been driving cross country, and but it was just a routine check. I just checked my documents and I was on my way home. So yeah, all in all, cool experience. I drove there my Mercedes, which is 34 years old, and I am really happy to say that it went without any flaws. The whole trip was like 400 kilometers, and back and forth, and not a single, absolutely no issues. So yeah, that was also really cool. The other thing that has been happening, for the past while is the football tournament, you know? And I'm not into sports at all. Like, I like snowboarding, I like, a bunch of other stuff, but I've never been the guy who's into like football, basketball, you know? Like, it always sucked because when I was in high school, like all of the guys that I've been classmates with, all of them were, basketball guys. And I was the one who really liked cars at the time. So, it sucked not having, anyone, share my passion. But I don't know why I was never into, when I was 13 years old, I started to lift weights, but basketball, football, nothing. But basically, I have a group chat with a couple of, work colleagues of mine. And, you know, I just basically got really lucky because when Spain was playing, wait, who was Spain playing? I think it was France. I don't want to mix it up, but I really wasn't paying really much attention to it. So when Spain was playing France, I think basically one of the guys, texted, do you want to bet? And we only bet a Saturday's lunch basically. Um, but I actually managed to win. I just wanted to be different than the other guys. And one of my colleagues, I think, bet that France will win 2-1. Then the other one, Spain, 2-1. And I just wanted to be different and I said, Spain 2-0. And I offered them, to come over to my place and watch the match. But because they didn't want to or they were busy or something, I didn't even really watch the match. I felt pretty sick that day, so I decided to, jump on my bicycle, go for a ride, to get my body moving a bit. And when I came back, I think it was 1-0. And then later on, it was 2-0. I actually missed the whole match. And it's funny how, me know nothing about it, just sheer luck. Just out of sheer luck, just got it. And like my guess was only because I wanted to be different from the other two guys. And I got really lucky. So I got myself basically free lunch on Saturday. Now, I watched a tiny bit of the finals, Argentina versus Spain. And yeah, watched bits and pieces of the match, but Argentina lost. And it's weird for me how right now there are like riots in Buenos Aires. Like, okay, so most of the people say football is just a game, but I heard numerous times being said, during the finals that football is more than a game. But trashing your own city after losing doesn't really, it makes no sense for me. Like, I've seen, bits and pieces of videos. I didn't watch too much of it, but I've seen just like people throwing stuff in the streets, smashing things, breaking things, and I have no idea why would you do that to your own city. I know that like football is massive over there, but like losing finals and then trashing your own city, that does not make any sense. Now, I apologize in advance if you can hear rainfall, but it's starting to rain and there's not much that I can do about it. So yeah, basically, it was a really chill week. Went to Latvia, and then I went to, oh, and there's lightning. Okay, that was actually a big one. I am considering that maybe I should turn off the electronics, but maybe we'll be fine. If there's another one like that, then I'm definitely turning stuff off. But for now, I'm gonna say it's gonna be fine. Maybe it was just, just for show. So yeah. Another thing, when I was talking about Latvia, I was really thinking about doing like a trip, not across, but basically by the Baltic coast, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. I think that would be cool. But actually, I've been like, my friend, got his, motorcycle license, I think, maybe on April or May, I think. And then he said that maybe I should get it and my other buddy should get it. And I was like, thinking a tiny bit about it. And then I started to think more and more and more that maybe it would be really cool. So, like jumping on a bike and going on a road trip, I'd say that would be really cool. I'm starting to really consider that maybe I should try and get myself a motorcycle license, you know, for the next year. Of course, I won't have enough money to buy myself a bike, but that's a different issue. But honestly, we were also talking about, just going to like somewhere like Thailand or Vietnam and just, basically renting bikes because nobody cares if you have a license or not over there. So maybe, that would be cool. Traveling to Asia, jumping on a bike, and just going on a trip like that, that would be, I think, epic. I've seen like, many videos of like, people just walking bandaged up, their knees, ankles, elbows, and wrists because, they rent a bike, they don't know how to, ride it, and then they fall and hurt themselves. And this is exactly what would happen to me. But if nothing serious happens, who cares? So I'd say, flying to just a different continent, jumping on a bike and just going on a trip, that seems like such an insane amount of fun. That actually would be incredibly dope. But honestly, I'm seriously considering trying to get myself a motorcycle license. Maybe trying to get it, in 2027. Actually, I don't even know how long does it take. When should I start? Should I start in April or? But it's like it's not an issue for today. That it's not something that I should think about today. But as usual, I have not been preparing for these episodes because, well, I don't want to make excuses, but work and such and other stuff. But I am in the very, very early stages of something a tiny bit new. If you, have been to the Perevia store, there's gonna be something releasing. I don't know if I should say the date now. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I'm gonna release the date. I'm gonna say the date of its release on the 10th episode. I'm gonna keep it, a tiny bit of a mystery for now, but I am going to be working and starting work. Yep, there's thunder, but I don't know. It's not that dark outside. Maybe it's going to pass quickly. But basically, I am going to begin working on something. I have I think, a cool idea. So we'll see, I am thinking about September, but we'll see. And honestly, on August 17th, Perevia will be 1 year old, which is really cool. A year flew by like nothing. So, hoping to do something cool then. But basically, the goals I have for this summer, basically the main one I think is going to Warsaw. I really would like to do that. Jump on a train, I think it's like maybe 6-hour train ride, which is not too bad. Jump on a train, go to Warsaw, explore the city, but for not like I did in Kuldiga, where, I think I've been there for like an hour and a half, maybe 2. Definitely not 2, maybe an hour and a half. But basically, just rent a hotel and okay. Alright. There's a full-on storm now. Well, it's actually kind of stopped the rain, but that's not the point. But basically, I would like to spend like a whole day in Warsaw because it's a big city and there's like a lot of going on. And I would love to, basically my goals would be, to just walk around, explore the city, try the street food, and I would like to go to like some small event, like maybe an indie concert or like, something not too big, but just something to, experience it a bit. So yeah, that's I think the main goal, because honestly, today is July. It is July 21st. July 21st, so it's basically already the second half of the summer, and like the summer has been flying by like nothing. So maybe you know I don't have many goals for the for the duration of the summer, but um, Warsaw would be great. Now, when it comes to mountains, that is looking less and less likely, but maybe somehow, by a miracle, maybe something will happen. So honestly, yeah, I don't really have much else to talk about. As I said, I have not been preparing, which is bad. I really need to get on the track of preparing for these episodes. Because I just like sitting down and talking, but I want to make a good podcast. So, I should really start, just preparing for it. Other than that, I don't really have much to say, so maybe I shouldn't. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's episode. If you watched it, till the end, well, thank you very, very much. I will prepare something cool. Not cool, but I will prepare something symbolic. For episode 10, I'm going to reveal the date of something that I'm working on now. So yeah, if you watched it till the end, again, thank you very much, and see ya next Thursday. Yeah, I had to, think for a moment when do I release these episodes, because I pre-record them, but every single new episode is released on every Thursday. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. See you next time.